Today's topic is in-kind gifts. If you have questions while I'm showing you the material or showing on screen how to enter in-kind gifts, Ross is also in the room with us, and you can open your question panel and type questions directly in that panel. Ross will answer those as I'm showing on screen. If I happen to look at my second screen and see a question that might be good to just answer out loud, or it's what I'm on right now, then I'll go ahead and just read that out loud and answer it for everyone. At the end of the user group webinar, we'll spend some time answering questions on in-kind gifts. If you have other questions, please try to keep your questions topical. If it's your first time with us, hopefully you entered the room a little early because the presentation did show you how to use the GoToWebinar toolbar. Something else. Oh, I wanted to mention also on the GoToWebinar toolbar, if you click the plus by handouts, you'll see there is a handout I added. It's directly from our blog. It details how to enter in-kind gifts, and that's exactly what I'm going to use today for our user group. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at entering in-kind gifts. Now today and any future user groups, we're always going to show these in the most current version of the program. And you can see, oops, I went to go get my highlighter, and then it moves my church windows menu away. So I will just bring that back up and tell you, if you look in the upper right corner, just above where it says church windows, we see this is version 18.15.0. Now if you're wondering, when 18 came out, we did send an email out a few weeks ago asking people if they would like to have version 18 sooner or later. So some people have that already. If you did not receive that email, I'd check your spam folder or others in the church that might get Church Windows email, or just give us a call and talk to the ladies who answer the phone, and they can talk to you about getting 18 out to you now or later. All right, so let's look at in-kind gifts. In-kind gifts, first let me click on donations. I already had it open, so it would pop up really quickly. In-kind gifts we enter into the donation module, and those are gifts where it's a non-cash contribution to the church. Maybe somebody donates bread to the food pantry or canned goods, or donates a computer and paper. It's an item that is not actually cash going into your bank or checking. So that money is entered a little differently, or not money, that item. You want to give that person credit for that on their statement, but we're going to enter that a little differently than regular monetary donations. We go ahead and go to donations and then enter donations. And once that opens, then upper left, we put in the donation date that was given. Now this can all be done. You can enter your in-kind all in a regular batch, or some churches, let me click the little toggle above batch code, some churches opt to create a batch code called in-kind giving, and they put their in-kind giving in a separate batch from the regular donations, and they use the batch code to indicate that that is a special in-kind giving batch. I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. Oops. Well, let's leave it on actually, because we do have a non-cash giving, so I accidentally selected that, but we'll go ahead and select that because this is non-cash giving. Again, batch codes though are optional. If you do not want to enter that all in the same batch, you don't have to. You can set up a completely separate batch on that same date and enter it. Next thing you want to do is choose the actual giver. So we'll just go ahead. You can click the down arrow to choose someone from the list, or you can start typing the name or number. We're going to put a $0 amount because no money was given. We were given a thing. We weren't given an actual check or money. So we'll leave the amount at 0. And if you use the payment method, then we want to click here and choose in kind as our payment method. We don't need to enter any check or reference number. You can turn on donation comments, and if we'd like, you could put a comment here. But I'm going to go down to account pledge, and I'm going to choose my non-cash giving. Could start typing that in. There we go, my non-cash giving account. I'm still going to leave the amount here as 0, but I'm going to go ahead and put my comments in line item comments. And the reason I'm doing that is these comments will show up in the details section of a donation statement. I can enter those same comments up here for donation comments if I like, but the ones that will show on the donor's giving statement are the line item comments. So here I'm going to go ahead and type in 1 used computer and monitor. Now, if you'd like, you can go ahead and put the amount in here as well in your line item comments, not in the amount box because no money was given. But really, we don't need to do that. If it's a new item, I believe it's up to the donor to prove that responsibility. Oh, yep, at the very bottom of this in-kind gift document, it's the responsibility of the giver to assign a value to the item and be able to actually prove the IRS if audited. Your church is only responsible for acknowledging the actual gift received. So really, you don't even need to put a dollar amount in here. Then we can click Done Add to Batch. And if you're going to add this with all of your other giving, you just go up to your next giver and put in their giving and continue. Or we can go ahead and post this as its own batch and then do our regular giving as a separate batch. I just noticed somebody asking about a gift card. That could also be put in as in kind. Might need to check on that. I am not completely certain on that. So Ross, if you know the answer to that, I'll let you answer that. And I can read that out loud, but that might be something you need to call in about because gift cards, I think, might be handled a little differently. All right, so now we can hit post or post and transfer. If we transfer this to accounting, nothing's going to go over into accounting. So go ahead and hit post and transfer so you can see. Tells us here that Wednesday is not a Sunday, a standard posting date. Continue, and we'll say yes. Gives me my transaction number. Do I want to print? I'm going to say no here. I could print that if I'd like. But once I'm done, it brings up the transfer donations to accounting screen. And notice that was a $0 amount, so there's nothing to transfer. Let me see. All right, now the second or the exception to this is when that in-kind gift, when you want it to count towards a pledge does need a dollar amount for it to see that dollar amount and count it towards what they've already given and what they owe and what they've said they'd give. So what you can do is you can go to Pledges, and then we're going to click on Pledges by Giver. And let's choose the same person here. I think I had Lucy Agler. We'll choose our giver in the upper left. And now upper right, I can click on Prior System Donations. Now typically this is used if you are a new customer, you just started using donations maybe midway through a pledge campaign, and you don't have, the first half of the year, all those donations that count towards somebody's pledge entered in the system. This is usually used for that, so you can get all those entries all those donations that were given prior to your beginning to use Church Windows. You can put them in as prior system donations, and then they will count against the pledge, but they won't show up as an actual transaction. So here, Lucy, let's go ahead and we'll choose, she doesn't have a 2016 pledge, so we'll go ahead and choose, actually, you know what, I'll take that back. Let me look real quick on pledges. And we will choose, it's going to go towards her a general fund pledge. So let's choose Jan Adams here. I see she has one. So let me go back to pledges. And then upper left, pledges by giver. And then I'm going to look for Jan K. Adams. Now this screen shows all of her pledging, but up here I'm going to click on prior system donations. We see I'm entering one for Jan. Under Pledge, I want to choose the actual pledge campaign showing the correct dates that this in-kind gift is going towards. And then I can put the date. And here is where I would put the actual amount of what that is worth. So maybe that used computer, it's a really old one. It's only worth $100. I'm just making up an amount here. So we'll say 100. And then you can even put comments as to exactly what that $100 was. We'll just say used computer. And then click add. Now if we close this, we can look at Jan's giving statement, and it should show that counting against her pledge. So let's take a look. If we go to donation statement, and let's just do all in all. Hit next. Wait for it to gather data. And I'm going to uncheck print for all, and we'll just ask for Jan and Lucy. We see them both up at the very top. And here we see, let me make it a little bigger in case you need new glasses like I do. Here we see for Lucy, this was the money we entered in enter donations, or the in-kind gift, no money. Notice how we see it's non-cash giving. That's the account we put it towards, a zero amount. But we see the line item comments I entered of one used computer and monitor. Now if we scroll down to the next one, which was Jan K. Adams, few notes about prior system donations. This is not a transaction, so we don't see it in the details section, but we do see for the general fund, should have showed you before and after, but $100 that I applied as a prior system donation is showing in the prior giving column, and that is now counting towards her pledge. So she was able to donate that computer that was valued at $100 and still have that count towards her pledge by entering it as a prior system donation. But because that does not show up as a transaction in browse transactions, and it doesn't transfer anything over to accounting, we're not distorting our true figures when we print reports. A prior system donation does show up on our pledge report. It does show up on the donation statement, as we see in the prior giving column. You can't transfer it to accounting. Doesn't show up on browse donation or on any donation or giving account report. Doesn't show up on a step report or giving summary or the campaign comparison report. That prior system donation button simply allows you to enter something and have it count against a pledge. And I just noticed somebody asked if I could go back to the first statement and show us the in-kind donation. Certainly. Let me go ahead and highlight it. Right here is our in-kind donation, the very first one I entered in the enter donation screen, where it's just an in-kind gift. It didn't need to count towards a pledge or anything like that. So that shows up in the details section of the giving statement. And again, the comments are the actual line item comments. So you want to make sure you enter the comments on the line right where you choose the giving account. And then let me real quick move down here and get my clicking tool. I'll highlight the other here. The money, or no money, I keep saying money, the in-kind gift that I entered to count towards a pledge, we see showing under prior giving, we see $100 given to the general fund. Someone asked, can you put the donation in both ways so it shows on the detail and in prior giving? I can't think of any issues with that. So I think that would be fine. The only problem with putting it, if you were trying to count it towards a pledge, then entering it in enter donations where it shows up in the details section, that would not count towards the pledge. But if you were to then also put it in prior giving, you would see it in the account pledge section counting towards that pledge. So I I can't think of any issues with that. I've never had anybody ask me that yet. So, Ross, if you think of any issues with entering it as an in-kind gift and enter donations, and then also as prior giving, please comment on that. Let me see. All right, so I'm actually at the end of what I wanted to show you today, and we do have 5 more minutes left. So let me take a look and see what questions are out there. Someone asked, if we have been using the donations module, do we still show it as prior giving? Well, the prior system donations, that is only to enter an in-kind gift. You can do it right in enter donations. But if that money needs to count towards a pledge, that is where you need to enter that in prior system donations. And again, don't forget the handout. Let me go ahead and click on it and bring it up. The handout I'm following along with is attached. It's right in the handout section of your GoToWebinar toolbar. In-kind gifts. It's a 1-page, pretty short and sweet document. Or you can also find that on our blog. Just search the keyword in-kind. Someone asked, if someone gives you a receipt for an in-kind donation, can you put the amount there with the message? I would check with the tax advisor to be certain on, the legalities of that. But certainly you could add that there. But again, it is the donor's responsibility for income tax purposes to prove that value to the IRS. You are only responsible for acknowledging you received the gift. It's the donor's responsibility to prove the value. And let's see. Someone asked, if someone gives a receipt for purchases for a specific event, can I put in as gift in kind, but is there any way to track that as an expense in a fund for future reference of true expenses for that event? Let me reread that. I'm not certain on that, Chris. I'm a little confused with your question. So if you could call, unless Ross, if you want to answer, if you have an answer for that, I'll let you go ahead and answer. But I'm a little unclear on your question. So if you could call and ask for help, we could definitely help you with that question. I mean, you can have items transfer to an expense account, but in-kind gifts do not transfer. So that expense, I think, would have to be noted strictly in accounting. I mean, you can give them credit for the actual in-kind gift donation, but in-kind gifts won't transfer to accounting. So to show that as an expense, you'd have to enter a transaction in accounting. Someone asked about cash gifts and stocks. Today we're only covering in-kind gifts in this user group. Cash gifts, you enter donations as cash. And stock, we do have a topic on our blog. If you've never seen our blog, if you go to our website and along the left click on support blog, you can type in a keyword. And if you type in stock, there's 2 documents. I'm assuming you're in donations. There is a document on donations posting a gift of stock that you can take a look at or print out, and that would answer your questions about entering a gift of stock. All right, let me see. Someone asked, can you use an in-kind gift when someone donates their services, such as a supply organist who would get paid a dollar amount but does not want it? Again, that's one you might want to check with a tax advisor on. I think from what I've remember in the past when asking Carolyn or Josh are usually my go-to persons when I don't know the answer for accounting. Typically with something like that, I know they've told me you would go ahead and pay them and they could sign the check back over to you. And that would not be in kind because they did receive money and they donated that money back to the church. They didn't give you an item or, like a computer or paper or canned goods. So I'm pretty sure that the best situation there to follow your cash would be to write them their check for their pay and let them sign that back over to you and then enter that as income. Or if they want that pay to be a donation, you would enter that donation and enter donations as a regular dollar amount. And that way you have a nice cash or paper trail of you paying them the money, them signing it back over to you, and then you entering it in donations for them as a donation. So Beverly, I'm pretty sure that would be the best way to handle that from what I remember Josh and Carolyn telling me in the past. But again, as Ross mentioned, feel free, definitely double check with the tax advisor. We're never trying to not give you an answer, but we are not tax advisors, the techs here at Church Windows. Oftentimes, a lot of the techs who deal with payroll and accounting are very knowledgeable on some of the tax questions you might have. But we always recommend you check with a tax advisor or the IRS because we are not tax advisors and we definitely don't want to tell you the wrong thing. So it's oftentimes why we won't, we'll give you, here's what we think, but really we advise you check with a tax advisor. Oh, and that's the best thing I think to do, Beverly, so you have a paper trail. All right, more questions, or did I? I was scrolling through to see which ones Ross answered and or wasn't able to. Did I miss any questions? If I missed one, please repost that. I'm looking back through. I see somebody asking about what if they want it to go towards their pledge, and that was at 2:08, so I think I just had not gotten to that section yet because I did show you that. Someone asked, can you record service hours and assign a dollar amount for each hour? That I would definitely call in about. I've never been asked that, and that I do not know. So I would definitely call and just let the ladies up front know what you need help with, what area, and then a tech who knows that can call you back. But I've never been asked that, so I don't know the answer to that, Missy. Scroll through here and see if I missed any other questions. If you need to leave, I know we are going past the 20-minute time, just use the X on your GoToWebinar toolbar to close yourself out of the room. Thanks for attending, but I can stick around a little bit longer and answer more questions or make sure I didn't miss any. So I'm just scrolling through here, getting close to the bottom. All right, I don't see any new questions coming in. If you're in the middle of typing something, go ahead and hit enter, and that will alert me that you're still typing a question, and then you can finish typing the rest. That way I won't accidentally close the room. Somebody asked if I could show a prior pledge one more time. Sure. Go to Pledges right in the middle of the screen. Upper left, click on Pledges by Giver. Then up at the top, I click on Prior System Donations. On the Prior System Donations screen, I click the down arrow and choose the individual who I want to enter for. We'll choose Jan again because I know she has a pledge. Then I need to click under Pledge and choose which pledge this money is going towards. Choose that 15 again. Choose my date. Here I can already see below now what I've already entered. Oh, she gave us lots of money this time, or something worth a lot of money. I'm just going to say in used automobile. How about that? So click plus and then close, or plus add and then close. And now if we look at Jan's statement again, uncheck print for all, and we'll just check Jan. We should show $1,000 prior giving now. Oh, I'm sorry, not that. 100 plus 800. I don't know why I was thinking my first gift was 200. $900 because I entered $100 the first time, and the second time I entered another 8. So it's adding that up, and we see prior giving of $900 now counting towards her pledge. Again, if I went through this quickly and you want something in front of you that you can read, click the plus by handouts and then click on it's Dawn in Kind Gifts is .pdf. If you click on that, it will bring the PDF up and you can print that. Or if you go to our blog and type in the keyword in kind, that will bring up the topic as well. Same document that I went over today. All right. Well, I'm not seeing any other questions. I hope I did not miss any. I tried to scroll the list a couple times and look at any of the ones that Ross was not able to answer. If you have any other questions or you think of something, after I close the room, give support a call or you can email support@churchwindows.com and we'd be happy to answer your question. If you specifically want to talk to me, I actually am going to go to lunch now. I take a late lunch, so I won't be back until 3:30 or a little bit after that. So if you have a specific question, as long as you let the ladies know up front what module your question is about, then a tech who knows that module can call you back. So if you have a question about this, you don't want to wait, then just ask for any tech to call you back because I won't be back from lunch for another hour. All right. Well, I want to thank everyone for attending and hopefully you learned something new on in-kind gifts. And again, please give us a call if you have more questions. Thanks so much. Everybody have a great day. And if I don't talk to you before next week's holiday, have a great Thanksgiving. Bye.